60% of people in the Middle East are under 25. That's 300 million people live in the Middle East, of which 60% of them, 60% are under 25. So we have an opportunity and we have a challenge. The opportunity is to make sure that they believe in the future, that they see it as an exciting opportunity, that they feel that they're able to contribute, to get involved, to become economically self-sufficient and build their lives, start families, as most young people anywhere else in the world. The reality on the ground is increasingly going further and further away from that, and it's not just the Palestinians in Gaza. It's increasingly affecting all of us, and for us to see people suffering is, if anything, weakening the voice of the moderates and empowering the voice of the extremists.
You've been here all day having meetings with other First Ladies from Arab nations. I know that you can't seem to get away from your phone because you're still working the phone. What do you hope to get out of these meetings today? What are your hopes for this?
The Israeli barbaric assault on innocent civilians, innocent Palestinian civilians, has been horrific. The numbers continuously and consistently increase from, it's not even day by day, it's hour by hour. 824 people dead. 2 hours ago that number was 821. So we are losing time. We are working against the clock. 3,300 people injured. But more than that, 22,000 people have been displaced from their homes, internally displaced from a prison. It's not internally displaced from a place that used to be even a nice place to live in. Gaza is a prison. It's been a prison for 3 years. The embargo that has affected people's lives has almost devastated the Palestinian community. 80% of Palestinians in Gaza rely on food aid. They rely on humanitarian aid, not just to live, not even to live, but to survive. 1 million people in Gaza, Palestinian people, are without electricity. 800,000 don't have access to clean water. 800,000 people. This is the 21st century. Where in the world could this happen? Unfortunately, it is happening. Now, as a mother and as a human being, as I said, we need to make sure that these atrocities stop. What would it be like? Just imagine your children living in Gaza. How could that reality be? Let's talk through the scenario. You wake up in the morning, you give your children a glass of milk. Mothers in Gaza can't do that. Why? Because no milk gets through. You send your children off to school knowing that they'll be safe, knowing that they're going to get a good education. Mothers in Gaza don't do that. Children don't go to school because it's not safe, because it's just beyond belief, to be honest. You cook a meal. Mothers in Gaza can't cook. Why can't they cook? Because they don't have access to fuel. They don't even have access to the basic foodstuffs that are required to get a meal together, so children don't eat. Mothers, think about when you put your children to bed at night. This is something I think about on a daily basis. You put your children to bed at night and you expect to see them in the morning. That's a luxury that people in Gaza just do not have. So what would it be like for you living under those circumstances? That is something that we just cannot accept. We just cannot sit by and wait for it to stop.
Are you sad? Are you frustrated? Are you angry? I mean, you have to go to these meetings, you have to go to these dinners. Is it difficult with what's going on? It's been difficult to smile. And that's not just me. It's a lot of people that I'm meeting. It's a lot of people that I'm talking to. It's the UN agencies on the ground that are seeing some really horrific things. The stories of the psychological trauma that we're not hearing on our TVs, we're not seeing on our TVs, and we're not reading in our newspapers, is something that's going to have a long-term effect on life, not just in the region,
but actually in the global community that we all live in. Because when you see people suffering like this, it doesn't give you a sense of optimism. It doesn't give you a sense of hope. If anything, it pushes you in to become more desperate. And when you are desperate, you have nothing to live for.
Now the Israelis say they're protecting themselves, right to self-defense. They're under a bombardment of missiles. Their children are under threat. What's your response to that?
Lift the embargo. It will lift the embargo and engage in a peace process, a real peace process. As you said, talk is cheap. It's not enough to say that we want peace. What are you going to do to achieve peace? What we're seeing on our TV is not a step in the right direction.